Hi, I'm Sherry Flakes from Billy Mills, and I'm going to show you a few things about Schoology that I have found out. I've been using Schoology since about September, and so I'm just going to start with basic things on how to set up your class and do some assignments. Schoology is pretty powerful. There's so many things that it can do that I am not aware of or can't explain to you. So this is, again, going to be a basic session. So here we go. So I'm going to switch my screen, and this is Schoology. You're going to access it from the Go page. So if I'm in my Go page right here, it looks like this. And so when you go to Go, you will find Schoology. So that is how I access it. When you get to the page, your classes are already going to be set up. This is linked through PowerSchool. I'm on the Lawrence Public Schools. I click here, and I'm refreshing now, and it's going to show my classes. You'll notice that some classes have different icons. That's because I've created those specific to those classes. You're going to see semester 1 sections and semester 2 all at the same time. And so if you see a number with a 100 in front of it, that means it's semester 2. So I haven't messed with these classes yet. I've also created a practice class here just to play around with in Schoology, and I might be using that to show you some things today. So I use these 4 classes, and notice it says that I have 651 ungraded assignments, and that is because I am not going to start grading and syncing my grades with PowerSchool until semester. So I have just been grading those on my own. The blue bar across the top is, of course, is like all of where you access everything. First, let's go to your profile. You can change your profile picture. It will already say your school. So if I click on profile right here, this is where you can change your picture right here, edit picture. And it shows your courses over here to the side. Whenever you see the yellow badge with the turquoise star in the middle, that means you are in charge of those classes, like you're the owner of them. And so now I'm going to go back to I'm going to go here to courses. So before I showed you the Lawrence Public Schools where they've got your classes set up, but now I'm going to click on courses. And it shows you all of them again. And so I moved them around so they were in order of like 4, 5, I see my 5 is out of order here. 4, 5, 4, 6, 5, 7. I did that because we have odd day, even day. But all these other classes are also there. They will always show up. You cannot hide them. So both semester classes, it shows like double. Plus I have like some extra things on here. So then you can click on the tile to open a class. I'm just going to show you kind of how mine is set up. I feel that it's very important to tell you up front that you need to have folders, because if you do not have folders, you're going to have assignments for the entire semester that will scroll down and it'll be miles long. So make sure that you have created some type of folder system. And so the students access these folders to find different things, their assignments or slides that they have to look at, or anything you want. So to categorize some folders, kind of figure that out ahead of time, and you can color code them. And so you make a folder by going to add materials, and the very first choice is add a folder. There are a few things over here. I have not played around with this because I haven't figured out how they connect, but they basically take you to those websites, and that is some apps. I'll show you those later, so you can just ignore that. But add a folder is the first choice, and then you can click on it, and you've got some color choices. Type the name of your folder, pick your color. There's a few to choose from. You can type a description that will show up on the main page underneath it. So a lot of times I leave this blank. I did that, and so I would type a title here. I'm not going to do it now, but you can just type something there and hit create. I'm going to hit cancel. But you can see this Christmas on Jane Street one that I did. That I'm going to be deleting out because it's just a one-time thing. And it had a description. So you can see how descriptions add length to what they're looking at and more words. So I don't like to use descriptions. I like to leave it basic with only the title. But that is up to you. And so within each of these slides, let me show you one thing. You can move anything around with this green bar, or if you click on the green bar, if I add a folder, that folder is going to go between this yellow folder and the green folder. So you hover around and wherever that green bar is, that green dotted bar, that's really important in Schoology because that's where everything will be put, wherever you add something. I learned this the hard way because I was having to drag. Everything is going to drop to the bottom. So it's not going to be the most current item or the newest thing that you create is not going to go to the top. It's going to go to the bottom. And so I didn't like it that way. I wanted the most recent to the top. So I was constantly sliding up through the pile of old assignments to get the newest to the top every time. And the easier way to do that is to just have the green bar in the right place, and then you can add anything you want right where that green bar is. So just make sure your green bar is selected, because without the green bar, if I still add something here, like a folder or an assignment or an assessment, any of these things here, it's going to dump it to the bottom as a default. So green bar, the green dotted bar is very important for placement. Okay, so that's folders. Then within your folders, you can expand or contract your folders. So you can see here, I started this in about, I don't know, a little bit into first quarter. And I teach 7th and 8th grade. So if you didn't have folders, all of these assignments would be visible all the time. And so this is way too much for students to see and overwhelming, and it's just a bunch of words. So I really encourage you to use folders. I love that you can just open a certain section. And then over here on the gear wheel, this is where you can copy. Of course, you can edit the assignment. You can also edit the assignment if I open an assignment. So I have a planner check here, and I just wanted them to turn in a screenshot. Well, maybe I'm going to change that. Instead of screenshot, I want them to make a video. I would change this. There's that gear wheel again, and I could edit this, and I could add a link. So it's loading this assignment, and right here, this is the link button. They're very light to see until you hover over them. They look like they're grayed out and can't be used, but you really can. I can attach a file, add a link. I use this often. I don't know where the resource is probably coming from my resource folder. It's loading my resource folder. We'll talk about that in another session. Yeah, so here's my resource folder. That is another thing that we really should start at the beginning so that you're not creating assignments if you know you're going to do them another semester or year, is keeping your own resources and finding them directly there so you don't have to like find the link from your Google slide again and again. So I'll talk about that at another time. So that's the resource folder. You can also do a quick an audio or video recording of yourself if you want to speak to them and tell them what to do, which is great. And then I never use the external tool. You can assign a due date. I haven't been doing this because I'm just dumping them into PowerSchool manually, but you would definitely want to assign a due date, point value. This here, let's go back here. Name on the assignment. I always try and keep them the same, similar, and write your description of what you want them to do. You can change the size and add bullets and all this stuff here. You can do spell check. But this category section here with this little asterisk is very important because I did this wrong before. You have to match the wording exactly spelled correctly and everything to the PowerSchool categories if you want to sync your grades. So I added some other things here. These are not categories in Schoology, or excuse me, PowerSchool. I just made these up because they were things I was using in class, but classwork is one of them. So I only use classwork right now. And so you can talk to somebody who knows more about it than me, but I did find that out the hard way. You have to make sure your categories match to the PowerSchool categories for grading. And yeah, so then you can just save your changes or create your assignment would be the same way. I'm going to hit cancel on this. You can hit your next and previous to go to your next assignment. Here, let's take a look at this assignment. These students turned this in, which had quite a few turn it in, but then I click on the received button and I can see who has not turned this in. So 9 students have not turned this assignment in way back from November 30th. Imagine that. I don't have it marked as late because I didn't put a date in it. So if you did put a date in there of when it was due, that would show up as who turned it in late. So I plan on doing that at semester. So I have 13 that need graded. Again, that's because I am grading them by looking at them and not, since I'm on my other computer typing in PowerSchool, I am not typing it twice, but I will be using that once I sync my grades and do that semester. I'm going to wait. So here I can click on not submitted and see that these students have not done their work. If I go back, I can choose received or needs grading. And now I can click on these students' assignments. And this is where they were just turning in a picture of their planner. And you do have, in order, this is a little different than Google Classroom, you do have to click through every single student to see their individual work, like this. I just wanted a picture of their planner for the week. So they uploaded this from their iPad, but I cannot see the whole tiles of every student at once, like Google Classroom does. That feature is not in Schoology. So in order to see the work, I can't see it all at once. I will be clicking individually. Right here, I'm on this student, and I have to click the arrow to go to the next student. Takes a little bit of time to load, especially if it's a big project like a slide. And this is just one picture. And there's her planner. So I would have to click through every student like this to see the picture to grade it. And then here's where I would submit their grade point, their score, okay? Okay, so that is a little cumbersome. If you trust that they turned it in and you don't want to actually see the work, you can just go from the list of students like this and say, oh, they all turned something in. But if you don't trust that you know what that is, it could be a blank document or an old page, you would have to click through each student. You can click through them here, or once you click on one, you can click on the arrow to go through the list. Takes a little while to do that. So I've tried to combine assignments a little bit so I don't have to do it quite as often because it does add up. Okay, so that shows you a little bit. Let's say I'm going to add an assignment here. I'm in the folder. Up here, this tiny little section 2, that takes me back to that class and shows me all the folders. But if I just want to add something within this, I can click here on the weekly planner checks. And now I can add an assignment. Again, if I don't have that green bar, it's going to dump it to the bottom, which is under October when I started this. I want it to go here. So the green dotted bar, I'm going to click on it. And now I'm going to add an assignment and it will show up there. Okay, but if you don't click that green bar, it's going to dump it to the bottom. And many times I've made that mistake and not found the green bar, and the students can't find it because it's at the bottom, like way down here instead of being close here. So green bar, get used to using that right away. If I don't want to be in weekly planner checks in this folder, and under here, under options, excuse me, you can individually assign assignments. I never do, but it's there if you want to. But right here, if I want to get out of this folder, right here, it's very small, but right above it, this is where you click to get back to that class. Over here is the tile that shows the class. But I'm going to click right here, and I'm still back in my 7P4 class. And now if I want to, maybe I'm going to add if I add an assignment loose, not in a folder, it's going to just be there loose, dumped at the bottom. However, you can dump it in a folder. So let's pretend I'm going to make an assignment here. And I'm just going to call this testing, or practice. And do this. Maybe I was going to record myself. Maybe I'm going to add a link, whatever. I'm going to hit create and watch where it goes. Because and it's telling me I need a category. You have to have a category. I always make sure your category, I need to get these others deleted out of here so I don't have to look at them, but I always make sure this matches to PowerSchool categories or you will not be able to sync. So I'm going to hit create and look where it dumps it. It's going to go at the bottom under all my folders. This is what the regular assignments look like, but I don't want it there. So maybe I'm going to dump this in to the purple folder under discussion posts, dump it in there. Oh, it went above it. You have to be real careful. You have to hover it, and there it should go in. Okay, here, I'm going to put it in right above this other assignment, and there it goes. So now if I can track that purple folder and open it, there's the one I just made. So you can slide things around, which is helpful, of course. I'm going to go ahead and delete this. And you can copy to course. So There are two things you can do, so you're not recreating it for every single class if it's the same type of class. One is copy to course. This is the one I use. And so if I hit copy to course, it's going to show me all my classes, even from both semesters, and you have to like scroll through all of them. So I have made, this is my advice to you. It took a lot of trial and error to figure this out. Look right here where I stuck a picture in here. I can't even read. I can't tell what hour this is, and it's not changeable because this is hooked to PowerSchool. So section 1001 is second semester. Section 1 is first semester, but I have no idea what hour it is for these. And look at how you can tell that these turquoise ones that I've found and figured out, they're not even together. Like I have to scroll through this, and there's no way to get around this. And so what I've done, and they have to show you all, you can't hide a semester and just look at the ones you currently have. It's just not possible. I've asked. So the way to do it, and it does work well, is make sure that this little tile has your hour or whatever you want it to say. So I have 7P7 right here. So if I want to, I'm in 7P4 class. If I want to copy this assignment to 7P7, I'm going to click here. It's going to expand. And I, again, have to pick the folder. Don't just leave it and hit copy or it's going to go loose at the bottom of this hour. So I'm going to click folder. And I had used the purple discussion post. So I would click this. Okay. Now it's going to go into the purple folder. Again, and the classwork's already saved from before. And then I can, without clicking copy, I can go ahead to the next class I want to duplicate it in, 8P5, and make sure you go into the right folder. And I have all mine color coded. And then these are next semester, so I'm skipping over those. Oh, there it is, 8P6. But see how I had to make that special tile so I can read the 8P6? Notice it's the same tile over here. Same type. I will show you how to do that soon. Okay, so that's how I would add an assignment to another class so it would show up there. But make sure that you are putting it in a folder. Or if you don't, it's going to go loose at the bottom. You have to move it again anyway. So I'm going to hit cancel, but that's how you do that. So that's basically it about adding assignments. You can add assessments. I'm not into that yet. You have to talk to somebody else about that or do some research. You can add links. So maybe it's not an assignment, but I just want to share a link. And actually, I've done this on my weekly slides because I have so many kids online, as you do. And so I've just made weekly slides of the week where they can access everything. A lot of the duplicate things are found down below, it's in the assignment, but they can also just quick access into the weekly slides. So if I open the slide, it's going to just take me to the Google slide. What's nice about it is it's not an external, doesn't open a new tab. It's right here in Schoology, and they can go through and click on their links. Trying to see how they can slide through it here because it's more than just one. Oh, it just takes a while to load. You can see it right here. Okay, so, and then the next slide shows where they can click links within here to get where they need to go. So a lot of students like the weekly slides. And it's taking so long to load that now I can't move. So I try and keep them short, and this is only a couple slides long, but it's making me stuck here. Let me see if I could click out. I can, so I'm gonna get out of there. Oh, it does, and it looks like I double clicked it to try. You can open it to an external, but it does show it right there too. So now I'm out, now I have an open tab. So I'm gonna close this open tab. And it's also slow because I'm on videoing this right now. So let's go back. I'm going to go back now. Let's say I was in this section 2 is actually my 7P4 class out there. It's finally loading, you can see. And I need to go to another class and just work in another class. So I'm going to go to courses right here. This is where I see my classes. This is different than when you first open up Schoology and you see these courses. This is when I click Lawrence Public Schools link. This is it still shows the same thing and you can still access them from here. I don't know why they just have another place to find them. It takes you straight there. But you can also just click on courses. So I use that button a lot and I moved all of I've shown you this before, but I've moved all the ones I use up to the top. There is a way to move them around. I would have to look that up for you because I did have them scattered all over because of the default and I found a way to move them. I think you go to my courses here, maybe. No, that's not it. That's just listing them. Okay, so I'm going to go back to courses. I'm going to now talk about making your tiles specific for your class. And the easiest way I've done this is to make a Google slide. And you can see how it's very specific on the sizing. So you can choose a default, but I wanted to make it personalized. So I made a Google slide, and I said Schoology title pages. And I've changed this up more than once to get it how I want. The thing that's important is the middle is what the small tile is when you're copying classes. So you really want your hour or whatever you want it to say, whatever, like if you want it to say the name of your class, that I like to use hours, it has to say that somewhere in the middle of this slide. You might notice this slide is very funny. It's very oblong, very horizontal, and that's because I have played around with the default or the settings to get it to fit into exactly into the Schoology title page. So when I go to File, and I go to, and of course this is out of my face is in the way. Can I move that? Here we go. Moving my head out here. File. I'm going to go to Page Setup. And this, you might screenshot this or write this down. This is the exact size you need to make to get your Schoology titles to line up from slides, and so it fits. 20 by 5.63, and I'm using inches. And to get there, I had to get, if you're starting from beginning, you have to go down and choose custom. So again, 20 by 5.63. And I'm going to hit cancel here, but you can apply that to your slides, and then you just make one for each hour, making sure that whatever you want it to say and look like, that middle is showing what is easiest for you. And look at, I even changed the font size because I have bifocals. I really needed to see this. It's very tiny on your screen, so make it as large as you possibly can. And as you can see, when I go over to my courses, right here, that's what it looks like. But then when I did that copy to class, when I was doing an assignment, you could see how it doesn't even show the sides, it only shows the middle. So it's very important that that's in the middle. Okay, so that's quite a bit of information. I'm going to talk about one more thing, and that is groups. So groups is helpful to collaborate with your colleagues. So I'm on a group called for Avid because I teach Avid for the middle school. So we have a combined group. We haven't done a whole lot on it, to be honest, but we have started collaborating, and we made some folders. Let's see where they're at. Under resources here, because I'm in this Avid middle school teacher group. So when I click on resources, that's where we have started to make some folders, and anyone who is in this group can add information. So this is a great sharing tool for your colleagues. I kind of like it better than Google Docs, or excuse me, Google Drive. I think it's going to be very helpful. So find some colleagues that you would maybe want to share some resources with. So that's under, it moved me over to resources when I clicked on that. So first I was in groups, and then when I clicked on this Avid one and clicked resources, it took me out over to the resources folder, because that's the next tab right here, this tile here. So we have courses, back to my classes, groups that I'm in, and then resources. Resources is where you can save all kinds of things. And you can save that these are my my resources, which are different from the ones when I was in that group. So plain old resources here takes you to your home resources. And I've tried to make these match up. This is where you could be saving things directly in, and I need to show you this because it's pretty important, and I need to start doing a better job of it. I suggest you start this from the very beginning if it's something you're ever going to use again, to save it in your folder in your resources, and then you can link it there when you have to use it again another semester or a year or for another class. You don't have to go outside of Schoology ever to find it again. So let me show you that. So again, here's my groups. That's when you share with other people. This was the little 1 hour class I took with somebody, and they haven't removed it yet. And then this is my Avid group, but then that has its own resources. But let me go to courses, and I want to show, and again, if I just open these, you can see that I've saved files in there. But I'm going to go to courses because I'm going to show you how to save to a resource. So I'm going to open a class. And let's say I want this classwork is the main one where students turn in their work for me, but I have other assignments as well. But let's say we did this thing on Price is Right, and we researched prices at Nebraska Furniture Mart, and so I want to save this. So I'm going to click on the arrow by the gear wheel, and I'm going to, the very last choice right here is Save to Resources. So it's going to load up my resource folder, and I can choose. Now, I'm part of this Avid group, so I could choose it to save it here, or I could choose it for home, or both. And I think you have to do them separately, so I definitely want it in my home one, and I want to choose the folder called Finance because it's kind of about money, and I'm going to hit Save. I cannot save them into two different places at the same time. So I'm going to save that copy. Okay, so now when I go to my resources and I'm on my home, my personal resources, I can go to Finance, which I wish I would have made the colors. I need to update. There it is, the price. I just put that in there, okay? But if I'm in an assignment, and let's say I can also save the same assignment. There's that, I have to find it again. If I'm gonna save this to a group and I wanna share it with a colleague, save to resources, and they're already members of it, I can go to Avid Middle School Teachers and click the folder that says Finance here and hit Save Copy. So now anyone can have access to that. And to find that again, I would go to Groups, and here, that's the group I sent it to, and I would go over here to Resources. And that's resources just for this group. And there is what we've started with, and I would open Finance, and there it is. So we started up by making folders, and we haven't dumped stuff in yet, but gosh, if we could have a PD day just for that, wouldn't that be amazing? Okay, I know there's a lot more to learn. I'm just showing you the basics. There's a search bar if you're looking for something. Discussion posts. I do want to show you how you can assign students to write a comment, which I think is great. And to add resources, you could put, well, there's a lot of complicated things like, oh, here you can copy to resources right here too. And adding links is great, but add a discussion template you can do. Let's see what that looks like. I haven't ever been on it. And this is a, it's just, you guess you can make a template and save it. And now this section for resources, let's see, I'm gonna pause right here for one moment. Thank you. Okay, sorry, I'm back. A teacher had a question for me. I wanted to show you these four squares right here. This is where you can get apps. So I'm gonna click on the app. I've added Edpuzzle. I don't know, even remember adding the Scribble. I use Edpuzzle a lot. And so you can go to this App Center. I think we have to get permission from the district on a lot of these, but it needs district permission on many of them. But don't know a lot about this, but I just want to show it to you, and maybe we could make this another session sometime. But there's a ton of stuff that connects directly into Schoology, where it's like, here's Pear Deck. And I've tried to get Pear Deck, but the administration hasn't approved it. It says trying to install it, and it says your app must be configured by your system administrator before you can install it. So I guess we need to figure that one out, because that's one we do use. But again, you can go back here to App Center. Some can install, but others, apparently they need permission or need to be done. And just sending an email probably isn't enough. I don't know the protocol for that, but we should probably figure that out, because the apps on here will basically, they directly take you to the link, and then without having to, it's a little bit helpful. I have all the same stuff on my Go page, but it's nice that it's already built into Schoology. So for example, if I go to Edpuzzle, because I know I have that one hooked up, I'm going to click Edpuzzle, and and this one I already have, but so let me go back here to apps, and it'll make a big long list if I had more of them. So I'm going to click Edpuzzle here, not from the App Center, which is what you're seeing on the screen, but the ones I already have saved or downloaded. And so I click Edpuzzle here, and it's going to still keep me, I believe, in Schoology. Okay, that's okay when it says this, because it's just thinking. Because when I go ahead and click on my classes, there they are. Here's my Edpuzzles, and I have and I can click on I'm still in Schoology. I love that it doesn't like make me open a new tab. I can click on my content. I can click on, still says South Middle School because I can't get that default change. We're Billy Mills now. So here's my content. And so I have all these videos that I have saved to use in the future or I've already used. So this is, but I'm in Edpuzzle, but see how I'm still in Schoology. So this is really handy. I haven't figured out how to, I don't know if because Edpuzzle does its own grading for the videos. So I don't know if they do the assignment. I haven't assigned them. I've always assigned them outside of this. But it is a way to access it. I just don't know much about it when it comes to these apps. If they like connect the grading into Schoology, you're still gonna have to create assignments and that kind of thing. And I'll probably make like an Edpuzzle folder eventually. But right now I've been just putting them in when I go to courses, I've just been putting my Edpuzzles in my classwork assignment, not an Edpuzzle. So I don't know that it all connects very well. It's just a quick accessing tool for some of them. And there's more of them here. So here I'm still in Edpuzzle, but if I don't know what Scribble is. Again, you can go to App Center. There's a lot of resources there. I just haven't played around with it too much. You've got a calendar here. You've got an email or like a messaging center here. And this bell tells you like when students have turned in work. And so I can see when students have turned in work, time-stamped. And it takes me directly to that assignment. So that's helpful. If it's late work, I can just go in and see it. And so I've got a lot of messages. Let me move my button over here. And I can hit view all, and there's a whole bunch. So I just wanted to share that with you. The little bell will tell you if there's anything new to look at. Oh, I need to close this. Ouch. Okay. And let's see. I feel like I've talked for quite a while. 30 minutes. I want to give you time to play around with Schoology. My email is sflakus@USD. So if you have any questions, I probably won't be able to answer them, but I know some, like I said, I know basic things. I hope you found this somewhat helpful. I'm not meant to give you everything there is to know because it would take a year to learn it all, but it is enough to get you started. And that's all I've been doing since basically end of September, middle of September. I just use what I need to, and then a little bit I learn something to add to it. One thing I do want to add in the future, this is really helpful. I know I said I was going to stop talking, but I thought of something else. If I can find it. There is a whole grade book, like you can make quizzes and tests all within here. I haven't messed with that because my class isn't really set up for tests and quizzes. There is a place, I'm going to click on this materials, course options. Okay, I'm not finding it, but there is a way to make a portfolio for each class. And I don't see it on the side here. I've played around with it and I can't figure out where it's at, but you can make portfolios. Students can like pick their work or turn in their best work, and they can do that for each class, or they can make a portfolio for their entire school of all their classes as one portfolio. So it is a really handy tool. I don't think we're ready for it yet, but it would be amazing to start using that as like a place for them to file their important work. So it does have that option. I just am not seeing how I found it before. So we're not ready for that. But again, it does make portfolios either for an individual class or for the student can design it however they want. Yeah, let me know if you have any questions. And this is the very basics to Schoology. Quick review. Yeah, don't forget about changing your tiles and making sure, I think the most important thing I've learned is making sure that you can see your hour in the middle of your tile right there. And I would make that in a Google slide. Again, the sizing on that, if you didn't get that before, page setup is 20 by 5.63 inches. And then download each of those separately and probably label them as your hour and keep them. And then you can upload those pictures from your computer. So, okay, I'm going to sign out here. And if you have any questions, please let me know. And hopefully you can play around with Schoology, make some folders, make some assignments. Oh, I do remember what I wanted to show you. One thing that students can do, and this is very powerful, I'm going to add a pretend assignment. Actually, let's do this in my fake class, my practice class. Sorry, I thought you were going to, if you want to leave, you can, but I'm going to teach you how students can add video directly. So I'm going to add materials. I've never been in this. I made this as a blank thing. I think I've deleted some things out. I'm going to add an assignment. And I'm going to call this video of, or reflection video, or so I'll just put video, and I'll say reflect. And I could even just record myself here. Audio recording. I'll just do audio because I already have the video going for you. I'm going to hit audio, start recording. Hi students, I would love for you to record yourself reflecting on 3 things that you learned last week. I don't care what you choose, but 3 things I want you to talk about. For each one, try to discuss how it's helped you grow. I don't care if it's inside or outside of school, but pick 3 things from last week that you'd like to share with me. And then make that as either a video or audio recording to submit. Thanks so much. Let me know if you have any questions. Okay, so that's uploading. I'm going to insert recording. And they would listen to this. I could also type the directions here if I wanted them to also type, but they could, if you don't type it, then they only could click on it and then they're forced to listen to your voice. You could say in the title, or excuse me, in the description, say, listen to my audio. If you don't type the directions, then it's forcing them to hear your voice, which makes a little bit more connection than just reading the words on the screen. And then I'm going to hit create. You have to click a category. I'll hit classwork because that's the default to match PowerSchool. I'm going to hit create. But students, I don't think I can show you from their view, but what they are able to do for this video, when they submit an assignment, and again, if I was a student in a class, it would be helpful, but I don't think I am anymore. They can click upload. Like they click submit and then they click upload. It's the I do want to mention this. It's the opposite of Google Classroom. So in Google Classroom, they added attachments and then hit submit, right? And then you want to submit? Yes, submit again. Otherwise, it doesn't show up. So that was Google Classroom. In Schoology, you click submit first, and then they click attach the link or add the video or whatever it is they're doing. So it's submit and then attach. The nice thing about Schoology is they can attach more than one thing at a time, whereas in Google Classroom, they had to like upload one picture, then upload a second, then upload a third. Here you can click, 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 and they will all upload at once, which is really nice. But they also can click an audio or video where they're recording right there, and that would be attached. There's also a discussion post that they can do. So that's really handy. I've had them just turn in a video of something, showing me their planner, and they talk about it for 30 seconds. And so that's been really helpful. I can't show you their screen right now, but it's submit and then they upload. And then there's like a little icon there for them to do. They can also add links of things they've created. They also can just create an assignment and paste in links. So maybe they made a Jamboard or a Google slide or a Loom video or a whatever that has a link, they can just dump it right in when they hit create. They could just paste that link in. And the other thing I wanted to show you, let's go to here again. I'm in this practice class. And you add materials. I do like adding a discussion. And so when you add a discussion, you could still count it as an assignment. You could still dump it in as in a folder. And I'm going to say blog. And I could say, I want you to write your comment from the video you watched last week, and then comment on 2 other people's assignments. So you can make this kind of like a Padlet. And so again, that's nice. I'm going to hit create here. And so when students answer this, and it has a different icon. It has a little bubble, the speaker bubbles. I actually have a few of these. So if I go to courses, I did this early on. I need to do it some more because I really liked it. I made a folder called discussion posts. And these actually could be audio. They could make an audio one. There's that practice one. I'm going to delete that out. Oh, my face is in the way. Delete. Oh, well, I'll do it later. So here we did an Emporia State University Zoom tour. And students then had to write their comments. I didn't have them write to somebody else, but they also, instead of writing, they can do an audio or video, which is really nice. Again, it shows a little bubble if you make it as a discussion. So I really like the discussion posts. And you can do that by adding materials, and it still can be an assignment. I think it can still be an assignment with having grading to it. Yeah, okay, so now I'm finally gonna be done talking after 40 minutes. So let me know if you have any questions, and I maybe can try and figure out some answers. I'm on several Schoology blogs where I can just like maybe search something and see if I can find an answer. Sean Hansen is our Schoology person in charge, so you could talk with him if he can lead us in the right direction if you've got any questions. I have heard that it is okay to connect links of your Google Classroom, so if you are feeling overwhelmed with Schoology, I was able to dump Google Classroom, and I've used it for years. I've used it for many years, and I just ripped the Band-Aid off in like middle of September and have never gone back. And I really do like Schoology better. It's so many more options. It's more powerful. And there's so many other things I haven't learned yet, but there are a few things where you got to be very specific. So because it's so much, it's kind of a learning curve. Whereas Google Classroom is so basic that you can't really mess it up, and you can't really mess up Schoology either. But it can take you down a lot of little holes or tangents. But because of that, it's what causes it to be so powerful or have so many more options. But my point is, if you are wanting to try Schoology now, but you still want to keep your Google Classrooms, all you would have to do is make a folder and call it Google Classroom. And maybe you don't have other folders at all, and everything is accessed through your links through Google Classroom. And so it's totally doable. You just paste your link in the folder here, or you wouldn't even need to be a folder if you wanted. It could be a straight assignment. As long as you're still using this basic setup, that's what we're told from the district level is next fall. Everyone will be using Schoology as its learning management system, but you could still dump your Google Classrooms in here. I think it's a lot of, I personally wouldn't do it, but if you want to try it out for like this next semester, or if you just you're used to Google Classrooms, you want to stick with this and play around with Schoology till you're comfortable, that's totally understandable. I just kind of said I'm never going back and never have, and kids like it. But there is a workaround, so you can still use your Google Classroom. You would just put it in your assignments like this. So it would just be a link. So if I'm going to add material and add a folder that's Google Classroom, or let's say I'm going to add an assignment or add a link, let's just do this. It's not an assignment, let's just add a link. And then if I was in my Google Classroom, which I still have, I would just link that Google Classroom link right there. And I could say what hour in Google Classroom link and type in the link here. So it can be done, and I make it pretty easy. And so you're kind of just slowly testing the waters. So that's definitely an option for you. Okay, let me know if you have any questions, and thanks for listening. Hope you got something out of this today.